famous American programmer John Romero once quoted that, you might not think programmers are very creative, but programming is a very extremely creative profession and it's a logic-based creativity. I'm sure all you programmers out there must be relating to this. So, hi, welcome to Vartalaap from Intellify, the show where we bring you real life experiences and advices from eminent personalities. I am Akanksha, your host for the day, and today we are joined by an extremely talented, influential, and an eminent young personality in the development world. From creating his own search engine from his school days to knitting all his knowledge on Python in his own book, thus reaching it to the world. He has done it all he has started doing it in a very young age. He's turning dreams into reality from a very young age. So without any further ado, join me in extending a warm welcome to the man of the day, Mr. Anubhav Singh. Hi, Anubhav. Welcome to the show. I hope the introduction was all right.
So thanks a lot, Akansha. Thanks for introducing me. And yeah, I really like the thing which you mentioned, turning dreams into reality. So I think I'll be mostly talking about that today.
Okay, so shall we begin?
Sure.
All right. Okay. So we have a lot of engineering aspirants these days. And since you're an engineer student yourself, so what was your school day like? I mean, how did you go about preparing for your JEE examination and how much did you study? So tell us everything.
Okay, so first of all, since I did not make it into the IITs or the NITs, you definitely know that I did not study a lot. Rather, what I did was, during my class 11th and 12th, I was pretty much busy trying to brush up my skills in computer science. I was coding websites. I was recoding websites. You started off with saying that I have my own search engine. Yes, that was the time when I built my own search engine. And I probably rewrote it from scratch 3 times. So that takes a lot of time away. Yeah. Besides that, I used to travel a lot. I love traveling. I would go out every day. And it was pretty much a chill life for me. I did not take much stress. And to be honest, in my class 11th, I probably passed with 40% score. And in my pre-boards, my school used to take some mock board exams before the actual board. So in the pre-boards, we had 3 of them. I passed in 1. And the other 2 I failed. So it was in December of 2015 when I started, when I actually picked up the book, the entire books. And I started studying from December. Yeah. And when I did start studying, I actually did start studying because I did not, waste any amount of time at that point. I did used to study 18 hours a day, probably sleeping 3 to 4 hours. And mostly it was just studying. So the time which I was putting into computers, I just converted it into study. And when my board results came out, I actually topped from the PCMB branch. Sorry, not the PCMB.
Wow.
I topped from the PCMB branch.
That's amazing.
So still I was the topper.
That is amazing. Oh my God. The first part of your answer was relatable, definitely. Yeah.
So I also did clear the JEE mains, but I wasn't really interested in going into some lesser known colleges, or rather say that I was interested in either going to a good college or else I was coming to Kolkata because I loved the city. And that's how my life has always been. I guess I have been taking decisions which I love doing, and maybe that's why I am here.
All right. Okay, that was a really nice and a very good answer. So moving on, behind every successful endeavor lies passion. And behind passion lies an interesting and a unique story. So what sparked your interest in programming?
So I remember when I was a kid, we are talking about the times when I was in class 1 or 2.
Okay.
And in our school computer labs, our class teacher used to take us there.
Mm-hmm.
And she used to have all these cute little games that she used to play for us to be able to, learn spellings, learn
Yeah.
how to add numbers.
Yeah.
And maybe that was when I actually got interested, because I remember I got interested into computers pretty early.
Okay.
All these games they used to play, I used to think, how did they even make these games?
Right.
So, yeah, like trying to build a game was the first thing which I tried in my life as a developer, which
All right.
obviously I failed at. And
Okay.
rather, I ended up creating websites.
Okay.
So I remember my first website came out when I was in class 7. And
Okay.
since then, it has been a long journey to here. That was 2009, by the way. So, yeah, it's been a long journey.
Wow, that's amazing. We do have a lot of memories in our school days when teachers used to take us to computer lab. I mean, that used to be the best part of the day for all of us out here.
True.
Okay, so shall we move on?
Sure, we can.
All right. So they say we should take small steps to reach our zenith of success, how we define success. So, what made you break that cliche and stereotype and like start yourself learning as a developer, with a big project like a search engine, instead of building the hello world and then moving on? So, what made you break that stereotype?
So if you ask yourself about this, who told you to do a hello world, right? When
Okay.
you started programming, who
Yeah.
was it who told you that you need to do a hello world, right? You started
Yeah.
the book and the book introduced you with a
Right.
hello world, or maybe
Yeah.
your teacher introduced you to a hello world. And that's how you started, because you were following someone. When I
Absolutely.
started my development journey, the self-learning and everything, I did not start with a teacher. I started with a dream. Right? The dream was to create a search engine. I did not have a teacher. So that's the only place I had to start with.
Wow.
I just Googled a lot how to
Yeah.
create a search engine. And then
Yeah.
I realized I need to know how to create a website.
Right.
And when I started searching for that, I came to know that I need to know a few things,
Right.
probably a few languages, a few
Right.
frameworks, databases, things like that.
Right.
And no one even told me that it's not the right place to start. And maybe
Mhm.
that's why I started there. Right. So
Wow.
when people don't limit your imagination,
Right.
you can actually start pretty much anywhere. Right? No one
Absolutely.
told me a search engine was a big project for a kid to self start with.
Right.
Right? Maybe that's
Yeah.
why I could start from there. I did not have any feeling inside me which told me that whatever you're trying to do is probably a thing of experts.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Um, I think that's how everyone should start learning. Don't
Absolutely.
let anyone limit you. Right?
Absolutely.
When you dream about something, just start with it. You don't have to worry about what others told you. You don't have to worry about what the books told you. Just start off with whatever you're dreaming about.
Absolutely. You should absolutely focus on whatever you want, you really, really, really want, and just go for it, like not think of anything else and just go for it. Okay,
Certainly.
so moving on, we heard a lot of interesting stories about engineering colleges, and they have like every engineering colleges and every engineering batch has a lot of interesting stories, and we get that from filmmakers actually get inspired from the stories and they make films and series out of it. So, what was your college life like? And can you recall one incident that is not just memorable but taught you a very important life lesson?
So I'll answer this in two parts.
Okay.
I'll come to the specific moment later.
All right.
I'll start off with the starting of my college life, right?
Okay. Yeah.
So when I came to Kolkata to start off with my college, I
Yeah.
came here alone, right? My parents
All
have
right.
not even seen my college yet, and and I'm already graduate.
Oh my God.
So I
Okay.
came to Kolkata,
Yeah.
and Kolkata is a place like West Bengal is a state adjoining which all the states in India. I don't have a relative in there, right?
Okay. Yeah.
So I just wanted to be very far from people who knew me, and I came to Kolkata entirely alone, right? I did not know
Yeah.
anyone in the city. I literally knew no one knew me,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And it all started pretty alone. Counseling, admissions, getting a room for the first time, staying away from home. All of it started alone. And very soon I realized that instead of making making college friends groups. What I had to focus on more was making a group of people who were equally ambitious and who wanted to do something in life, which was very similar to what I wanted to do. Right. So
Absolutely.
I got in touch with a lot of people. I got in touch with the community of Google Developers Group Kolkata. And that community pretty much became my family over the years because the maximum people I know in Kolkata are through that community and the other communities which sprang up later. So if you ask me about what I started off my college life with, I would say it was GDC Kolkata which changed it entirely.
Yeah.
And think about that one moment in college, which I believe was, something which I'll always remember.
Yeah.
Is that when I came to Kolkata, we were actually, my family was having a lot of financial troubles. And to be honest, like I had recently won a award, a pretty major award, and I actually put it all into my own admissions. And so that's how it ended there.
Okay.
So,
Yeah.
so when I came to Kolkata, my family
Yeah.
was actually having some financial issues,
All
and
right.
whatever I had with me at that time, whatever my family savings were at that time, all of them went into getting me into college and getting me established here. So 3 years down the line, during which a lot of things happened, my father lost his job at times, and he had to switch a lot. And yeah, he wasn't very well paid and things
Okay.
like that. And there were even times when I used to have like one meal a day, and
Okay.
just surviving off a single roll of chicken. So a single chicken roll for an entire day. There were many weeks like that. So I remember after all this, 3 years down the line, I took my parents to a hill station,
That's
and
so sweet.
that was one trip I gifted them.
That is
Like,
amazing.
I got my mother on the flight for the first time. I took her to my father's place, and we all went to a hill station. And that was a pretty beautiful moment. I still have a picture of that. And my father is wearing a T-shirt of TensorFlow, which obviously he did not get. And my mother is basically wearing a beautiful sari, which I
Yeah.
gifted her.
That's
So
so
I
sweet.
think that is one moment I'll never forget. Like,
All
coming
right.
out of there up to here to that moment was amazing.
That's absolutely beautiful and inspirational. Thank you so much for sharing this to us. So moving on, being on the same subject, how did you balance being a freelancer and your college days? And can you please tell us about your Venkat scholarship?
Okay, so I'll start off with the balancing of freelancing and college life.
Okay.
So I'll have to mention here that in my college, my department specifically, the information technology department,
Mhm.
I had a lot of support from my professors
Right.
who were very fine with me bunking a few classes in order to
Okay.
support my school.
Right.
So
Absolutely.
a lot of times I could not go to the class.
Mhm.
I could not submit assignments on time,
Yeah.
or maybe not at all. And yeah, I would be seeing the college a lot, but I would never reach the classes. Right? I
All
used to go to the college, I used to meet a few people, I used to come back. And
right.
that was pretty much it. Right? So it was very hectic. Uh, as you might have already understood, it would
Of
have been
course.
hectic.
Definitely. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. I think without the support of my professors, it would not have been possible for me to manage both the things side by side. And
Yeah.
I definitely want to thank my professors. And I do. Um, I just wish I could do some more, maybe in near future.
Yeah. Okay. So that's
And
it. Yeah.
uh, the second part, right?
Yes. Yes.
So about the Venkat scholarship, right?
Yeah.
So the Venkat scholarship is actually to recognize students from India. Like it selects six students from India every year,
Yeah.
and they basically want to find people who have been helpful to the people around themselves
Right.
and who have been helping people see uh, the wonders that computer science can bring to this world
Yeah.
and how it can help in the betterment of the world, as in promoting sustainable development, or else just promoting the education of marginalized communities.
Yes.
So Venkat Scholars considers all of these, and it also considers the challenges that we have faced in life.
All right.
So I was very fortunate to have been selected into this. I pretty much spoke everything there in my application.
Right.
And yeah, I was very happy to have been selected into it earlier this year. Like it
All
was
right.
one crazy moment. I remember I just laughed for like an hour straight. And Rahul from Google, he called and he said that congratulations. And I could not speak much. And
Yeah.
he asked me if I wasn't excited.
Right.
So my only response was, I'm speechless. So I'll
Right.
be excited later.
Right.
So that
Wow.
was it. That was the experience.
That is so amazing. All right. So moving on, you are the former lead of a very prestigious committee, the DSC, Developer Students Club, right? So can you please tell us more about DSC and some of your endeavors in this prestigious club?
So the Developer Students Club is actually a program by Google developers,
All right.
and it's currently available globally. But it started off with India.
Yeah.
That was in 2017, and our
Okay.
DSC batch was the second one in India.
Okay.
So basically, there are around 200 clubs, 200 total developer student club in India, and our campus was one selected among them.
Wow.
In the developer student club, we are pretty much free to do whatever we want to do
All
as
right.
long as it's helping the students. So there are
Right.
developer student club which focus on projects. There are other clubs which focus on beginner stuff,
Right.
creating or having sessions or workshops around beginner technologies. There are some which focus on a bit advanced or maybe intermediate or other things like, they might also conduct hackathons. They might get in speakers
Right.
from all over India. Basically, we have a strong support from the Google Developer Experts community
Right.
who often agree to carry out workshops and sessions for us. So we could also arrange for those.
All right.
Besides that, as a DSC lead, I also got the opportunity to be a speaker at DevFest. So
Wow.
DevFest are the largest developer events held by Google developer groups all over India.
Yeah.
So in 2019, I guess I spoke at 4 DevFests. So that was another crazy time of life. And
That's amazing.
everywhere I did talk about the community.
Right.
And the community grew from 0 to 3,000 almost right now.
Wow.
And I'm about to pass it down to the next lead. I'm not sure who that is, but
Okay.
whoever that is, I believe they will be able to take it forward. And one really
Absolutely.
does not ever leave a DSC, right?
Right.
So even if I am graduating out from college, even if
Yeah.
I will not be the lead of it anymore, I'm very sure I'll still be hanging around there
Of
somehow,
course. Yeah.
helping the next lead take things forward, or just looking at the community which we have set up, the amazing community which helps itself. So that is really great to have. Right? A lot of people who are very willing to help each other.
Right. That's so nice to hear. So moving on, uh, this pandemic has taught us a lot of things, right? Especially how we rely on technology a lot. So, how do you think the IT industry will help us in the future times with respect to our daily life functioning?
A lot actually.
Yeah.
If you might have noticed, since the lockdown in India started,
Right.
that was probably 24th of March.
Right.
Since then, a lot of businesses actually went shut,
Yeah.
and there was an entire tourism industry, and a lot of companies, a lot of
Right.
startups centered around tourism, and they went shut. And there were a lot of companies which did not focus on what they're focusing on today. If you look at Zomato, Zomato was focused on bringing you food from the restaurants. Now it's
Right.
also bringing you grocery supplies from the nearby
Exactly.
supermarket,
Right.
right?
Right.
And if you look at Ola, if you look at Uber, all of
Right.
them are delivering supplies to your places,
Hmm.
right? And
Absolutely.
there have been so many services which have come up recently,
Yeah.
focusing around team collaboration,
Right.
team communication,
Right.
and just in general video calling to
Right.
friends. So if you look at it this way, there were some industries which went shut, and it's the IT industry which went boom, right?
Right.
So a lot of people I knew, they lost their jobs, and
Mm-hmm.
it's really sad to think about it, because while they were, being laid off, while
Right.
they were facing hardships, there was also
Right.
this section of the IT industry which was actually getting better, right? If you think about me, because I have been a freelancer and I have seen how the lockdown has affected me. So um, I got a lot of projects in this lockdown, a lot of
Okay.
projects, in fact.
Okay.
And uh, like I has to say, like I did not have as many projects as I did during the lockdown as in the last 1.5 year, right?
Wow. Okay.
So
Yeah.
there was a lot of pressure to work,
Right.
and there was a very visible increase in the number of people trying to go digital,
Yeah.
right? So
Absolutely.
in a way, I think that is going to be beneficial to us even after this
Yeah.
pandemic is over.
Definitely.
When things are back to normal, I believe people will still stick to the solutions that they will have
Yeah.
built or got built by others in these times. And in a way, I think it will be beneficial for people, because travel will obviously
Of course.
spring back the moment people start traveling.
Of course.
Everything will come back, but these things that we have built during these times, they will stay. Right? So
Definitely.
I believe IT industry has kind of been the backbone of the fight through
Yeah.
the entire pandemic, and it will strongly continue
Yeah.
being so.
Yeah, definitely. We are relying on everything on digital these days, and even few companies have started work from home, and I
Yeah.
believe that work from home is going to be the future of our work industry. So, anyway, this virus has hit every one of us, and especially the graduating batches of 2020, and especially also the ones who are actually seeking jobs right now. So how do you think it has affected you as well as the IT industry all over?
So if you talk about, actually, we can break this into two parts. We can
All
talk
right.
about the people who are graduating this year, and we
Yes.
can talk about the people who will be graduating next year. Right? It is
Yes.
going to
Yeah.
affect both of them very strongly.
Absolutely.
For example, in
Right.
our batch placements pretty much started from the mid of 2019.
Okay.
So a lot of us started seeking jobs and internships at that time,
Right.
and those were the normal days, right? So
Right. Right.
the problems that we faced were not mostly around placements; they were mostly around graduation, right? How are
Right.
we, or when are we at all going to graduate?
Right.
Because
Right.
even today, if you ask my university, they are not sure how to conduct exams. And if you ask the students, then they are very happy saying that we have graduated. Like no one knows what's
Absolutely.
going on, right? So
Absolutely.
there's an uncertainty,
Yeah.
and due to these, they are not able to apply to a lot of companies.
Right.
So people who had already applied got selected. Even
Right.
some of them have lost their placements. So
Yeah.
the companies say that they will be hired, but they are not hiring anymore. Right. So these things have happened with our batch, but
Right.
the only positive side that we can look at here is that our batch still did have some time,
Right.
right?
Right.
The upcoming batch, the batch of
Yeah.
2021,
Yes.
it's probably going to be hit the hardest because their job search starts now. And it's very tough to search for jobs, without the help of a college, because it's
Absolutely.
not really possible for every student of India who is enrolled into engineering to look for jobs online, right?
Right.
A
Right.
lot of us, a lot of the engineering students today, they do not commit themselves to building an online profile, right?
Right.
Which a lot of us do. Like even if you ask a lot of engineering students today about what is GitHub, they might not be able to explain
Yes.
what is GitHub. They
Yeah.
might not even have heard of it. Right?
Yeah.
If you ask them about cloud servers, then it's still a myth to them. Right? What
Right.
is a cloud server? So a lot of students in engineering today, they are not
Right.
focusing on these things,
Right.
and they are actually relying heavily upon college placements to happen for them to be
Yeah.
able to get job.
Right.
So batch which starts searching today, start
Right.
searching now, they are probably in for a lot of hardship because they won't even be having the 6-7 months which we had.
Right.
So yeah, I'm more worried about them. They might have a clearer, idea about when they are going to graduate,
Right.
but they will definitely have a harder time than we did have.
Yeah.
Yes, so I really wish a lot of luck to them because I'm not sure how many of them are still worried. But yeah, definitely one person who is worried for them is me.
I will also graduate next year, so I am very, very, very worried about that. So anyway, moving on. So as a CS student, you have also stepped into the world of AI, artificial intelligence. So how do you think the fourth industrial revolution will go, and how will you contribute to it?
So if you ask me about how AI is going to change the world,
Yeah.
right? So I think it's pretty much going to change everything that we see today. Maybe in
Yeah.
the next 10 years, we won't see
Yeah.
it that way. Like if you have been following the news, just today, some hours back, we got some examples of the GPT-3, right? Which tries to generate code out of specifications given in natural language by the user. So the user says, I need a counter which has these many buttons, probably a button to count, a button to reset,
Yeah.
and it should all be displayed on the screen. So the
Right.
user just says that, and the code is automatically generated, right? So there's AI doing that. There's AI recognizing our faces and billing our debit cards automatically in Amazon stores.
Right.
There's pretty much AI doing anything that we would have done manually in the past.
Right.
There's AI lifting items off the shelves and putting it into packages which are getting shipped to other places, right?
Yeah.
So all of
Yeah.
this is getting automated. A lot of automation is kicking in, and AI is powering it all,
Right.
right? So
Right.
while there are issues with AI about AI not being able to understand sentiments, about AI not being able to understand the other sociological problems that we have in the society today, but definitely, like 10 years down the line, I would say that AI will be, or maybe like be more progress towards overcoming these shortcomings. So I think anyone who is looking at AI today, who is looking to invest into AI today, or maybe to get their hands dirty with whatever goes into AI, right? Because AI is
Right.
not just machine learning. AI is also the combination of other technologies which facilitate people
Right.
to perform machine learning and perform predictions or use those predictions correctly, use
Okay.
those predictions with wisdom. All of this and is encompassed by AI, right? AI is
Right.
not just predictions, right? So a lot of people will become a part of this, this chain which is coming up,
Right.
and they will be, fitting in different roles. There will be people who will be doing the actual core ML. There will
Mm-hmm.
be people who will be creating beautiful applications around them.
Mm-hmm.
For example, people could generate language, right? We did
Yeah.
translations since a long time. We could do generation of languages. But if you do it in a different way, it becomes an application itself, right?
Right. Yeah.
A lot of AI researchers were doing photo manipulation, right? Image manipulation to create artistic images. But then some guy thought that we could make an app out of it and we
Yeah.
can put it into the hands of people who are not researchers, into the
Right.
hands of the like normal user, right? And they
Right.
did that, and it's short off. It just short off. You might have heard about Prisma, right? So that's what I'm talking about here.
Yes.
So there will be a lot of people involved in this entire chain, and they will be filling in the places where they will be required.
Yeah.
I don't see any certain branch of IT going away because of AI. Rather,
Yeah.
I see it will all be coming together
Yeah.
and creating beautiful stuff in the future.
Okay, that's really, really insightful, Anubhav. So, moving on, you also have published your own book, Hands on Python Deep Learning on Web. So, how was it like, putting all your IT knowledge in a book and, giving it out to people to learn more? And what is the most important thing that you learned while, doing, this thing, like writing a book of your own?
So one thing which I've been always
Yeah.
vocal about is that if you have learned something, if you know how to do something, the best thing
Yeah.
you can do is to teach it to someone else, right?
Definitely. Yeah.
Because you know knowledge just keeps multiplying, right? It just
Absolutely.
keeps multiplying. It never
Absolutely.
decreases. So I think that was the main motivation behind me putting time and effort into writing this book.
Right.
And yeah, definitely it was a difficult task to
Yes.
assimilate all of it, condense all of it.
Right.
And yeah, the editors would give us a very hard time because we were terrible writers, but that's
Yeah, yeah,
okay.
yeah.
We were past. We'll be better writers the next time. So
Okay.
yeah, I think the one thing which I learned a lot about while writing this book is that it's easier to learn things than to teach.
Yes.
And once you have taught them, you have completely understood them. Right.
Yeah.
So if you want
Absolutely.
to understand anything which you have learned recently, go ahead and teach it to someone else
Yes.
because they will have the questions which you are not able to ask yourselves. Right.
Absolutely.
And they will just stick it out on your face and you will have to answer it anyway. So teach as much as you can. That is one thing which I say that everyone
Yeah.
should try to do.
Absolutely. You are absolutely right. Even I believe in the same thing, impart whatever you have learned. And that's a really good answer. So we heard that a part of you is the stand-up comedian, if I'm not wrong. So why the force of attraction inclined more towards coding? I know that exceeded your love for comedy, like why? We want to know it.
Okay, so yeah, during school time,
Yeah.
I used to be a part of all these theater communities,
Oh,
and I used to be the primary script writer for all the plays which were happening in the school. Yeah, I was the cultural captain, right? So
oh my god. That's
yeah, so
amazing.
yeah, that is one part which people don't know about me.
Okay.
So yeah, I did participate a lot in these things, and I was mostly writing the scripts, writing the dialogues,
Okay.
and I I truly enjoyed making them funny. And yeah, it came out well. But computer science was something which I could do 24 hours a day, and this was probably something I could do 12 hours a day. So
All
maybe
right.
that's the one thing which held me back from
Okay.
pursuing stand-up comedy. But who knows? Maybe like 5-10 years down the line, I might just go into that as well.
Okay. So, I have noticed that in your blogs, you also inculcate memes related to whatever content you post. So, why is it? What is that all about? I'm very interested to know.
Because what is learning if there is no fun? Right? There has
Absolutely.
to be fun in life. You can't
Yes.
just be a robot reading a
Yeah.
few things, understanding, applying. That's it. Life can't be about that. You have to,
Right.
bring humor into life. You have to be,
Right.
someone who is smiling and someone who can make
Yeah.
smile. Right.
Yeah.
So that is very important. And
That's
all these memes that you see on my blog, not bragging, but all of them are original content.
yes.
Right. So I
Yeah.
create each of them.
Yeah.
So if you have like probably seen my presentations which I give at places,
Yeah.
they have a lot of meme content, right? Half my slides have memes. So I think it's very important for people to keep a smile on their faces
Yeah.
while they are learning,
Absolutely.
and don't just go boring about it. Like, come on, yes, I learned this today, and I'm happy about it.
Yeah.
So while you are learning, make sure that you always have that sense of the person that you are inside, the person who wants to be happy. Just keep that there all the time.
Yes, knowledge is fun. Like you learn something new. It's very exciting also. And the more exciting thing I think is, when you share that with the world, it is more exciting and it becomes more fun. So thank you so much.
Also, there
And
is one small thing which
yeah,
we as speakers try to do is because
yes,
if you give them a relatable meme,
yeah.
then they are more likely to remember it for a longer time.
Yes, definitely. Yes. Back in school days, we used to, history used to be very boring for us. We used to draw small characters in there, that made us remember it more. So I think this is relatable to some extent. So
Definitely.
anyway, so if you could go back to your 16-year-old self who just got his own 10th board report card, what would you suggest him? What is the message that you would give to him?
Okay, so this is a very interesting question because I think even then I kind of had the same mindset.
Yeah.
I was like, this does not matter.
Okay.
And yeah, the 10th report card is definitely something which is only being used by me till today to prove my date of birth.
Yeah.
And yeah, some people tried to judge me based on it, whether I
Okay.
was fit for science or fit for commerce.
All right.
And that is a kind of judgment which happens in India. I hope it
Yes.
does not happen anywhere else.
Yeah.
Um, and I was like pretty rebellious, right? I
All
always
right.
wanted to have my own way.
All
So
right.
I remember after my class 10th, I chose to go into commerce. I had
Okay.
a pretty decent score, and everyone told me you will, be very nice in science.
Yeah.
So I said, "Thank you. I'm going to commerce." So yeah, I filled in the form for commerce. I got into I went into the class of commerce. I stayed there 2 months, and during the 2 months, my class teacher in that
Yeah.
commerce section was like, "Anubhav, you're going to be the topper this year. Like, you're going to top boards." So
Okay.
yeah, I really like. I was very happy to know that because yeah,
Yeah.
topping anywhere is pretty cool. But
Absolutely.
then yeah, I had to shift. I went to Tamil Nadu, and
Okay.
I tried taking commerce there, but unfortunately, it was denied to me. And the next time I shifted to Allahabad, I tried again to get into commerce.
Okay.
And yeah, so at the last moment, they made me go into science,
All right.
which I did not actually regret.
Okay.
It's fine, right? Because I
Yeah.
told you it does not matter, right?
Absolutely. Yeah.
These decisions, I think they only sort of affect your life, but
Yeah.
not entirely if
Yeah.
you know what you want to do, right? I
Right.
always wanted to be a freelancer. I always wanted to do something of my own, live life
Right.
my own way. So
Right.
all these things put together, I didn't care where I was going, whether it was
Right.
science or commerce. I
Okay.
just had this thing that wherever you are, just do it. That's it.
All
So
right.
yeah, don't force yourself into going something which you don't like at all.
Yeah.
I kind of had a 49-51 between commerce and science. I went with the 49, but yeah, here we are.
All right. Yeah, I think you're absolutely right. You should not force yourself into things that you think you're not sure of, you can do it or not. Absolutely. So, Anubhav, we have come to the end of our session. So,
Hmm.
before ending this session, we always ask our guests to deliver a short message or any piece of advice to a young, enthusiastic viewers. So, if you could please, you could do the honors to us.
Sure.
Yeah.
So, one thing which I believe all of us should know
Yes.
is that there's nothing such as stability in life. Life is
Right.
very uncertain, right? You might
Yeah.
feel at times that if you take a certain decision, you will have more stability in life, and that's okay because all of us seek for it, right?
Yeah.
It's the law of
Absolutely.
nature that everything likes to seek stability, right? But
Absolutely. Absolutely.
be sure that life is never going to be that.
Yeah.
It's never ever going to be that, right? So a lot of my friends, when our college placement started last year, they were very shocked to see that I did not attend a single one of those, right? So
Okay.
a lot of people used to ask me like, "Are you crazy? Why are you not coming? Why are you not coming to the
Yeah.
placements? What will you do with your life?" Right? They were more worried about me than I was for myself. So
Okay.
the only answer which I had in my mind, which I used, obviously did not say it out to them because they would
Yeah.
feel very hurt.
Yeah.
But I would like to share it with all of us here
Sure.
today
Yeah.
that don't look for stability in life. Look for excitement. Look for doing what you want
Absolutely.
to do, right?
Absolutely.
Look for peace. Look for
Yes.
happiness. These
Yeah.
are the things which are actually going to help you feel more stable in life than a stable job, right?
Absolutely.
Than being in a position where you think everything is settled. Because believe me or not, like nothing in life is ever settled. You could be in a job and then a pandemic like COVID-19 could come and you could lose it, right?
Yes.
What's stable about that? That's
Yeah.
even worse off than being a freelancer who continued managing his things, right?
Yeah.
So take risks in life and do whatever you want to do, right? Don't look for stability. Don't run for stability. It's
Yeah.
fine to not earn 30,000 every month. It's better
Yes.
to earn 1 lakh in 1 month, zero in the next, and maybe
Yeah.
1 lakh again,
Yes.
right? So
Absolutely.
that's actually economically more beneficial, and that's what I have been doing, right? So
Okay. Yeah.
look for stability. Don't run for it. And it's
Yes.
actually just a myth, right? Think about
Right.
everything from every possible perspective, but
Right.
don't run for stability ever. It's not going to happen.
Wow.
So I think that's what all of us should know. So that
That
was all.
that is amazing, Anubhav. So there are a lot of things that I learned from you today, especially that when you learn something, please impart it to the world. Please give it to the world so that they can also learn. And it's very fun and it feels good when you share your knowledge with the world. Also, that as he said, life is very uncertain. You don't have any idea what is going to happen tomorrow or the day after. So I think that you should always follow your heart, what your heart desires, but because the heart wants what it wants, right? And don't listen to anybody, anyone's judgment, because society will judge you. Whatever, like if you're a science student and you want to go for arts, please go for it if you want to, if your heart really wants it. So I think this was a beautiful session with you today, Anubhav. Thank you so much for gracing our platform with your presence. It's been absolute honor to have you with us today. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Akash.
Yeah. Okay, so that's all for today, guys. Thank you so much for watching this video. This is me, Akanksha, your host, with Anubhav Singh, signing off. Thank you. Bye.